What's happening, Dolphins fans? Breaking news as we have just heard from the wire a little bit over an hour ago. Mike McDaniel gets the axe. Big change coming. Hit the button on the way in, guys.
Turner Yell makes the stop in the secondary for Denver. 1st and 10. The fake. Good block in there, and down it goes. Caught at the 30.
Welcome to the Fins tailgate. It's where we elevate. Miami Dolphins talk, yeah, we never hesitate. Breaking news, hot takes, we keep it up to date. And when the fans speak up, the panel resonates. We live that aqua and orange from the field to the mic. Breaking down the plays, man, we talk it every night. From Tua to the defense, you know we keep it tight. NFL moves, you know we got the insight. We open up the floor, yeah, it's your time to shine. Fans drop the heat with opinions realigned. You got concerns, bring them, we're gonna chime. The Fins tailgates where we keep it prime. Welcome to the Fins tailgate, it's where we elevate. Miami Dolphins talk, yeah, we never hesitate. Breaking news, hot takes, we keep it up to date. And when the fans speak up, the panel resonates. The NFL's changing, but we stay on the grind. Latest breaking stories, we don't waste no time. From the trades to the rumors, we make them all align. At the Fins tailgate, we always on the climb. We're repping the Dolphins, but it's NFL wide. From South Beach to the league, we keep it worldwide. Got the fans engaged with the energy supplied. Come kick it at the tailgate, we're riding high tide. Welcome to the Fins tailgate, it's where we elevate. Miami Dolphins talk, yeah, we never hesitate. Breaking news, hot takes, we keep it up to date. And when the fans speak up, the panel resonates. So if you love the game, you know we got the gate. Tune in, speak out, don't wait, it's your fate. This is the Fins tailgate, now watch us dominate. Miami Dolphins, NFL, yeah, we integrate.
What is happening, Dolphin fans? Hey, welcome to another episode of the Fans Tailgate. Real quick, impromptu breaking news episode. We're gonna do a short one here, man. Shout out to everybody popping in. Hit the like button, but I had to make an appearance. I mean, first off, I thought Mike McDaniel would have kept his job, and by all accounts, that prediction was correct. But then some things started moving around. Some odd things, some different things. The ground underneath the feet of Mike McDaniel started to move. It started with a whisper, right? And then there was a hire of Troy Aikman, a guy who publicly has not been supportive of how Mike McDaniel does things, which is incredible to hear, because here it is. I make most in all of my predictions and takes on this team on not what I want all the time, but what I predict this team will do by looking at how they move, how they conduct themselves. And this would have been right on par to keep Mike McDaniel, fire him in the middle of the year, have some GM, bring in a coach that GM picks out, and this whole wishy-washy type of, now we got a coach coming in and the GM's been here and they can't get along on a quarterback and he liked this one and that one, and the Dolphins picked the lesser of two evils, and next thing you know, we're on a 7-year cycle of trying to be the West Coast Miami Dolphins. This is not how I would have ever wanted this team to look, run, or be. I am a hard-nosed football defense, grind these boys out with the run game, pop off some deep shots every now and again. I'd like my team to look like the Miami Hurricanes. That's what I want my Dolphins to look like. It's the only time I can remember guys looking like champions and putting on motherfuckers is when they had that team. That's what they looked like. But I know this organization has been leaning towards pansy football for quite a while. And Mike McDaniel was the poster boy of empowerment of players and making them feel, sweet on you. So then this Troy Aikman gets hired. And the ground begins to move underneath Mike McDaniel's feet. The whispers began. Oh, man, how are they going to get it along? Well, then it was a reassurance. Stephen Ross and Mike McDaniel meet to discuss the season. And later that day after their setup meeting, it was talked about, and he was, Mike McDaniel had got on the podium and basically he was, saying, "Hey, look, I'm gonna be a part of these GM searches." And that, that was his input on the next general manager of the Miami Dolphins was going to be crucial. And it was looking just like same old, same old. What are we doing? We're just par for the course. So then it comes out that, released through back channels and leak sources, that he's not a part of that crew, that it will be, Brandon Shore, Garfunkel, Ross, Danny Boy, Dan Marino, and Troy Aikman are going to be a part of it. And some of the other fucking Brandon Beals and the son-in-law. Can't remember his name, but who cares? He ain't nobody anyhow. Hit the like button, everybody. Subscribe if you're new. I see everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys are coming over to YouTube, hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, share, guys. Share the show. Do what you can to share the show. Grow the channel. We need help. We need y'all. Anyhow, so the Dolphins, uh, things seem to be all about the general management hire. They start interviewing guys. There was like 8 or 9 guys that they had on their list. A couple of names intrigued some people, right? A couple of guys I was intrigued by. Um, you know, anyhow, all of a sudden, during this general management search, John Harbaugh gets fired. And it changed the landscape, changed the game. Now it's weird because there's all these ties, with people, and, who knows who and who works well with others. And, a guy like John Harbaugh, and even when we've, missed out on Jim Harbaugh twice, the only way you're going to land a big fish is those guys have to have absolute power. And it is what it is, right? You can't have a GM and hire him. You got to have open general manager position, open head coach position, and you can maybe have like a really good quarterback or no quarterback. Can't have a middle of the road guy or a guy you don't know about or whatnot. You kind of need a clean slate. And it's with the general manager being fired and our quarterback room being open. Yeah, it's not like we got a top draft pick, but it ain't like it's a healthy quarterback draft class anyhow. This team needs a lot. And so the Dolphins were riding with Mike McDaniel, but now John Harbaugh is let go. And right away, I mean, hands down, the best coaching candidate on the cycle right now. I know there's guys like Vance Joseph and, you know, now that Cliff Kingsbury, or not Cliff Kingsbury, what the hell's his name? What the hell I say Cliff? I'm thinking college ball, boys. The Canes play tonight, and I was preparing myself to do that. And here I am ready to go with this news drop, bro. I mean, let's be real. Like this is changing. This is a game changer for the Dolphins. So Harbaugh's fired now. Now it's like, oh, there's somebody that the Dolphins would want, but we wouldn't be the only contenders. So then early this morning, Ian Rappaport came out and delivered the news. Here's what he had to say.
Another major change in the NFL coaching landscape. The Miami Dolphins have informed coach Mike McDaniel that he is, in fact, fired. Owner Stephen Ross making it official this morning after a hastily called meeting with coaches to inform them that Mike McDaniel was now out. Stephen Ross releasing a statement saying that after careful evaluation and extensive discussions, he decided there was a need for extensive change, relieving Mike McDaniel of his duties. which means the Miami Dolphins now have a GM spot to fill and a head coach spot to fill. McDaniel leaves the Dolphins with not as much playoff success as they had wanted. Certainly plenty of success on offense, but a lot to be desired. He now looms as a key offensive coordinator candidate. That said, we must discuss the John Harbaugh relatedness of the situation. Harbaugh, of course, the former Ravens coach, was out. He now looms as a potential candidate for the Miami Dolphins, one of the few coaches available that would make someone fire their coach. Given Stephen Ross's ties to the family, it would make sense that Harbaugh would be if not the top contender for the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, a situation we're going to keep monitoring.
Oh no, he. Let me let you know right now, Ian. Contendi numero uno, and rightfully so. The guy has the lengthiest resume, proven success. I mean, 18 years with the same team, and they won a Super Bowl, and they were super competitive for a long time, still competitive. And, there was this weird thing after Harbaugh's fire that there was like, oh, the locker room lost, and, they do what ownership in the NFL does. They love to justify, just in case there's any potential fan blowback, they'll like to justify it with besmirching your name and throwing dirt on you. But there was massive pushback from the media and the players. The players, not happy to hear that. Either way, their loss. One man's trash is another man's treasure, as they say. And although Harbaugh won a Super Bowl as a head coach with another team, and no coach has ever, I've told you guys this, there's never been a head coach that has won a Super Bowl somewhere, left that team, head coach somewhere else, and won a Super Bowl. It has never happened. There's been plenty that have gone. Matter of fact, a lot of coaches that have gone to the Super Bowl and lost and went to head coach somewhere else when they got back to the Super Bowl, I think it's like 100% rate those guys win. So hit the like button, everybody, on your way in, as the camera decided to let you all know. Anyhow, I'm not going to let some superstition like that stop me. I want Harbaugh here. Every Dolphins fan wants Harbaugh here. I wear a purple jacket. Like, colors are halfway there, dog. Come home. Bring him home. And we know Stephen Ross is in love with the Harbaugh family, in love with trying to get those guys here. We've tried to get Jim twice, or John twice. I don't care what anybody says. If you had your pick of the Harbaughs, you get Jim or you get John. I wants Jim. That's who I want. Played quarterback, was a son of a bitch on the field with the Colts. I remember. Hit the like button. I'm getting their names backwards. You know what I mean? Fucking both your kids named Jim and John. Get it together. So yeah, Stephen Ross did release a statement, and it was an impromptu, which is crazy because they had their meeting. A couple days go by, called Mike McDaniel in this morning and informs him that, listen, this is essentially canned after careful evaluation and extensive discussions. Extensive discussions with whom? Right? This was a general manager search with the guys, but they closed the door to Mike McDaniel and made it public. That was the first big sign that, it was the second big sign because the Troy Aikman hire was kind of something weird too. Like, oh man, bringing a guy from outside, Then they closed the door and correct it for the narrative that he's not a part of the general management hire process. This morning they fire him. And then Stephen Ross's statement is, after careful evaluation and extensive discussions since the season ended, I have made the decision that our organization is in need of comprehensive change. I have informed Mike McDaniel this morning that he has been relieved of his duties as head coach. I love Mike, and I want to thank him for his hard work, commitment, and energy he brought to our organization. Mike is an incredible creative football mind whose passion for the game and his players was evident every day. I wish him and his family the best moving forward. Stephen Ross loved Mike McDaniel. He did. But it is nice to see Stephen Ross. I wouldn't say he's getting out of the way, but not personal relationships impede what is needed for this team. I liked Mike. I thought Mike could and very well may be. It won't surprise me if he gets another head coaching job in a couple of years, and we find him to be very successful, maybe even dominant at times for wherever he goes. I think the guy possesses the football mind. Uh, I did have problems with the way in which he was soft on players. I have problems in the way in which he handles leadership and discipline and accountability, and also, a little bit of playing favoritism. I think he got wrapped up in the moment on some things. But he is a young guy. I think I'll do. That's a new thing. Maybe he'll be better his second time around. He'll be a hell of an offensive coordinator wherever he's going to go and call plays. They're gonna be pretty good. But if the Dolphins are talking about changing it up as an organization, going from this whatever the I mean, like, if if we're going to be the type of team that reflects what I believe to be the state, the city, the fandom, I want to reflect what I know of football and it to be hard nosed. I've said it for years here on the program. I want my team to look like the Ravens. I want us to be and we did too. Like shit. Why do you think Weaver came here with his defense and set up? You know what I'm saying? Which is gonna be crazy if Weaver goes there and gets the job. He has an interview with the Ravens. That would be wild. I Now here's the kicker, right? What if we don't get him? We're gonna talk about that just for a few minutes, guys. I do want to get to a couple of other things on this subject here. So Mike McDaniel released a statement post, the news dropping. And here's what Mike McDaniel had to say, about his time with the Dolphins and now, unemployed, which he's got money and guarantees he gonna be just fine. People, don't worry. Coaching this team and being a part of this great franchise has been the honor of my lifetime. When I took this job, I had a vision of a team that was bonded together and played with passion and energy on the path to winning championships. I gave everything I had for this goal. I am disappointed, especially for the fans, that we did not have better results on the field, but I am grateful for every coach, player, and staff member who poured themselves into that vision alongside me. I'm grateful to Stephen Ross for the opportunity he gave me, a little known coach at the time when he hired me. Most of all, I am thankful to my wife, Kate, and daughter, Isla or Ayla, for their unending love and support. I love this game. The people and the relationships are a part of, and I will forever cherish my time in Miami. I felt it was very heartfelt. Sound like it came from the heart. I mean, buddy's cooking in some monies. He gonna be good. Hit the like button, guys, on the way in. Salute to everybody making it here in chat. Um, Mike McDaniel's gonna get opportunities. Who I don't know if he'll get. I mean, listen, there's a lot of vacant coaching positions. From what I'm being told, and to my understanding, there's not any consideration on any college coaches coming up to the NFL. There might be one, but a lot of the college coaches anyone would want are locked in pretty good with their programs right now. So I don't think it's going to be a recycle. There's going to be some coordinators that are going to get some shots. And I would say, looking at the landscape as it sits today, it would go Harbaugh, number one, as everybody's top hire for a head coaching job. Number two, Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel has slotted himself as what I believe to be the number 2 candidate for coaching jobs. Now, I could be wrong, but I think he's gonna be high up on people's lists all of a sudden. And then number 3, I think Stefanski is the 3rd guy. I think, you know. Anyhow, let's get into a couple more things that were said and done over here that I wanted to get with you guys on. Um, see where it's at. So the Dolphins now with a vacancy at head coach, vacancy at general manager, they have worked it down to the final 4. That's what I'm being told. That's what's being reported now, that there was, I think, 9 candidates in total, and they've worked it down to their final 4 candidates, and it's a little bit interesting, huh? Of who's in charge, right? Like who's it down to? The 49ers, Josh Williams, he's on the docket, which, we do know that Stephen Ross loves the Niners, loves that program, loves, that style of football, that setup. Um, and really wants his team to emulate A, their success, and B, how they look as a football team on the field. And shout out to the Niners. They if you're going to get anybody from the 49ers management group, as far as, who's been in charge of player personnel and all that good stuff, look at the injuries they took this year and how good they played. I thought the Niners were going to fall off a cliff, and they did in a lot of ways with their roster and injuries they took, yet they sustained. So, bringing up guys and drafting and having guys, at the ready to stay as competitive as they have, probably not a bad idea to reach out to the Niners management team to see whom's available. Another GM candidate that the Dolphins have down to their final 4 is John Eric Sullivan from the Packers. We do know there's a connection, same type of, West Coast type of offense that they really like around here. High candidate on their list, making it down to the final 4. The third guy on this is kind of, it's funny because I say it's down to the final 4, but I really think it's down to the final 3, because the third guy on the list is Champ Kelly, who we have in the building, who we know, whom as is, I mean, if you're getting if you're looking for new everywhere, you just fired your coach. You let go of your last GM. I get Champ Kelly's only been here, what, 2 years? Whatever, maybe a year. I don't even know. It doesn't matter. Like, he's got to be at the bottom of this list, personally. The fourth and final person on this list is the guy who is running away with the job. I think he's got 2 opportunities on the table right now, and it's going to be really strange to see what happens. That's Chargers Chad Alexander. Now, Chad Alexander connected with the Harbaughs. Harbaugh's already worked with them in with the Ravens. If you guys remember when Jim took the job in or John, whatever fuck. Was it John? Yeah, fuck, I can't remember, blanking. When he took the job with the Chargers, stole Chad Alexander away from his brother. Stole Chad Alexander away from his brother. And that's interesting. Better, a little bit better of an opportunity, kind of stole a little bit away. To me, the Dolphins are desperately trying to get him to take the job. The other guys on the list are who they'll take, who they'll keep if all else fails. Now, we've watched our owner strike out twice on the Harbaugh family. Twice. 2 times. If he strikes out for a 3rd time, we got to run this man up out of here. Got to run him up out of here. To me, and this is what's the overwhelming feeling right now, is that the Dolphins want to hire Chad Alexander as a way of connection. First of all, Aikman and Chad Alexander have a relationship. They're close. That's a little bit of a tie with the Aikman hire, trying to get him up in here. You get Aikman in here, that's going to be where Harbaugh wants to be. Now, here's the odd part. By all feelings, by how it looks in the landscape, by what's being leaked in the back channels and slightly reported, they're going as a package. And right now, the Dolphins are fighting for that win. The team, this is gonna. I'm just gonna give it to you straight. This is gonna come down to two teams right now. One of these two teams is going to get Aikman. They're gonna get Harbaugh, and they're gonna get Alexander. Excuse me. I keep too many names. It's down to the Dolphins and the Giants. It's down to the Dolphins and the Giants. What's up, Batman? No. What bathroom has hats and fucking sandals and stuff in it, you nasty bastard? Hit the like button, everybody. I see everybody in chat. Quick and impromptu. Thanks for everybody coming through. It's down now to the Dolphins and the Giants. And the Dolphins have released that they plan to hire their GM by tomorrow. We're going to get breaking news on tomorrow's show about who our new GM is. And if it is Chad Alexander, I'm not going to say it that Harbaugh is ours just yet, but I got to imagine that the Dolphins are only hiring Chad Alexander because they believe in every which way that Harbaugh will follow, that this is a package deal. If Chad Alexander ends up on the Dolphins and Harbaugh ends up with the Giants, I'd be surprised. Now, here's the odd factor. How much does Harbaugh love Jackson Dart? Because whomever takes over, now I guess you could draft somebody this year. Giants got a top draft pick, maybe. But chances are, both of these organizations need retooling. One has no quarterback. One has at least somebody. I think Jack Star's pretty good. They got Cam Scatterboo. They got some young guys on some cheap deals. Dolphins got some guys. I like what we've got in some areas. But by and large, minus the quarterback position, both these teams are just a mixed bag of nuts. So now if Harbaugh is a guy who really liked or really likes Jackson Dart, that could take us out of the running quick. We all know how this league is. You could be a great coach. You ain't got the quarterback, it ain't gonna matter. You could have a great general manager. You could have a general manager that's able to make very savvy business moves financially and with the picks, trading them away, acquiring talent, finding third-party talent through free agency and bringing them in and building a hell of a squad. But you fuck up on quarterback. You'll find yourself out of the job. Just like Chris Greer. Say what you want. Buddy was savvy in the business, knew how to navigate the offices of the Dolphins, knew how to navigate the power struggles, knew how to find enough talent, move enough mountains to make it work. But what ultimately did him in, ultimately, is missing on the quarterback. If the Dolphins had picked Herbert, chances are, well, fuck. If we had Herbert, we might even have John Harbaugh here or Jim already. We might have, but hey, whatever. This announcement, and I'm listen. Let's hope that we do a breaking news episode later today that Dolphins have hired a Chad Alexander, and I feel like the dominoes are starting to fall. Let's hope that that's the case. Let's hope that we are moving in a new era of Miami. Yeah, we're going to need to do some rebuilding, but you know what? To rebuild from what we have, this spread offense, West Coast type of thing, to getting down to more of a power football team, offensively and defensively, owning the line of scrimmage, most important. Let's hope we can edge out the Giants, because the Harbaugh sweepstakes is coming down to the Giants, who, I mean, let's look at it on paper, right? On paper, what do the Giants pros and cons for Harbaugh? Well, pros are you'll have, general management say so. You'll have an owner that's willing to do damn near anything. You have a quarterback that could potentially be your future. You got a hell of a running back who Harbaugh is very high on already in Cam Scattaboo. And you know, and you play in the NFC. Not to say nothing. I get, the Commanders took a step back. I expect them to get back on track. Dallas is a dumpster fire, but you do have the Eagles to contend with every year. So divisionally, it's got its ups and downs. It's got its hurdles. I'm not familiar with their cap situation, but I gotta imagine that New York's cap situation is better than Miami right now. Cons: you could be hooked to that quarterback. You're gonna have to play with, you know, Jackson Dart if he were to take the Giants job. Financially, the taxes, the taxes. Then again, he's in Baltimore. They pay fucking outrageous taxes too. Is that a place your family's willing to be? Is that where you want to be? What is that where you want to call home? Now on the flip side to Miami, the pros are you are in a great state. State taxes are awesome. Fan base who is ready for this. He'll be revered no matter where he goes, but I just feel like the reception Miami fans will give him, along with the owner who been trying to get a Harbaugh here forever. I mean, there'll be no leash. It'll be an infinite amount of leash. Um, Also, yes, thank you, Chris. I see you in chat. John's daughter is at USF, so you'll be closer to your daughter, closer to home. I don't know if she's in the South Campus or the North Campus. I don't know, but USF's on the West Coast of Florida. But hey, I mean that's a hop, skip, and away. We'll let you take. Even Ross will go. Listen, I'm gonna let you use this plane. It's your plane now. It comes with a pilot, fuel. Use whatever you want. You can go see your daughter after fucking practice if you feel like it, buddy. I don't care. You could leave the plane with her and have her come to you all the time. I'm gonna leave one plane with her, and I'm gonna leave a second plane with you, so you guys can figure it out whenever. Stephen Ross will fork over a little bit of money. What does he care? He writes all that shit off. He's a gajillionaire. He plays a different game than we are. Anyhow, the cons are larger for him to choose Miami. Oh, than than the Giants. There is some very important pros, like the state taxes, like being closer to his daughter, stuff like that. Like, depending on who our GM hire is, probably, gonna have your boy as GM. They're gonna sign you to a mega deal. You're not gonna be on a short leash or a leash at all. You're gonna be able to run this team however you please. You are going to be king shit to be at the top of the mountain. It is your show. You run it, which is very palatable to guys who, really, to be honest, deserve it, right? Like you gotta think in those terms, right? Like Harbaugh's not gonna want to be hitched to somebody's GM or some kind of owner, that's whatever. This is if you were ever gonna land one of these Harbaugh, I think it's the reason we lost to Jim those 2 times because of the GM situation. Jim Harbaugh was gonna be hitched to Tua, to Chris Greer. John will be able to come in here hitched to nothing and no one. He won't have a quarterback. He'll be that's carte blanche, baby. Carte blanche. What you mean? We'll play with no quarterback, John. Whatever you say, bud. Whatever you want, John. He's gonna get the type of freedom and control more so than he had in Baltimore. Promise you that. And that's a guy who swung it around in that bad boy. Now, there is the collective to deal with here in Miami, and that might hurt us. To me, we will not be outbid financially. We will not be outbid with, in any case. All signs point to want to live in South Florida, want to get paid the big bucks. You want to all this stuff. The only reason the Dolphins would lose out on getting Harbaugh here is the collective. This, too many Chiefs and not enough Indians. These boys come in here and start, wanting to micromanage a guy like Harbaugh. He's going to see that in the interview process. Other cons that if John didn't want to take the job here is that, we got cap problems. We, we're really his 2026 season is not set up well. We don't have a quarterback. We don't even potentially have one. I mean, I guess you could say Ewers potentially could be the guy, but I don't see it in any way, shape, and form. You're going to say Ewers or Jackson Dart. Which one do you want more? Jackson Dart is definitely who you wanted more. So, just a lot to consider with this hire fire maneuver landscape going on right now with the Dolphins, because it's going to move quick. As announced, they plan to make a general manager hire announcement tomorrow. I'm hoping it comes tonight after the Canes beat Ole Miss. That's right. Canes going to win tonight, baby. Keep a lookout because we'll probably be watching that game live, doing a little watch party here with the boys. So keep a lookout. Keep your notification bells on. Hit the like button. Subscribe. If you're watching on X, Twitch, Twitter, a cup on a string, message in a bottle, message in the sky. However you're enjoying this program, make sure you guys are coming here to YouTube, subscribing here on the Fins Tailgate. Become part of the team. Join the membership. Become an amigo. Become familia. And share. Share this. Share this video. Take it. There's a share button right there on whatever device you're watching it on. Post it on other X, post it on Facebook, wherever you guys also enjoy content. TikTok. We're on TikTok, boys. We's on TikTok. You on TikTok? Follow the Fins Tailgate. We need followers. We need it coming up because we getting ready to do some stuff. Is this going to be the time, finally, that we make the right hires, the right moves, take the long play, the hard road? That's what it takes, boys. This ain't no pansy game. This football, baby. This football. It's the hard road traveled. Are we gonna make it happen? We gonna get the guy? Are we gonna be a Harbaugh led Dolphins? Are we going to finally get a guy in here to run this organization with nothing standing in his way? We're going to hire his boy. Alexander going to come in. There's not going to be a head coach, uh, 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 general manager miscommunication. We don't have a quarterback on the roster that's going to be here eating up funds that I'm going to handcuff you to. And you know what? Just to point things out, I'm going to say when we brought Jimmy in and we had Dan, they didn't get along. Jimmy had different ideas of how the team should be run. Dan, had wanted to fucking win football games and play it Dan style. That didn't work. That's not what John will find here. It'll be his pick at quarterback through his boy, that's GM. This will be his Dolphins. And there won't be a blah, blah every year measuring him up. Waiting Harbaugh's seat's getting warm. Nah, that warm shit, ain't gonna talk about for a few years unless he comes in here and just completely shits the bed, which I don't see how that happens. The guy schematically and play calling alone is gonna save him enough, even if you hand him a bunch of nobodies. This is changing. Are the Dolphins going to get it done? Or is it 3 Harbaughs and you're out? Dolphins lose. We keep Champ Kelly in the building and, or we go get the dude from the Packers because we're hoping LaFleur gets let go because that's a guy to keep a name on. Matt LaFleur might get let go if Green Bay loses in the first round of the playoffs. The chances are LaFleur's out of there. And we're sitting on our hands hoping. I'm telling you right now, if the Dolphins hire anybody, again, this is said it is happening tomorrow. Tomorrow, we expect the announcement of the general manager. If it is anyone's name other than Chad Alexander, we didn't get him. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. The Dolphins came out this morning and fired Mike McDaniel. Why? Why now? Why not a little while ago? Why not tomorrow? Why not next week? Harbaugh's got let go. Not this morning. He'd been let go. Everybody been talking about it the last 48 hours. So why fire Mike McDaniel this morning? And also release statement saying, words coming out. Jeff Darlington said, look, the Dolphins going to announce tomorrow, GM. Jeff Darlington's plugged into Miami, baby. He's on the golf courses with Dan and the boys. He's plugged in. If Jeff Darlington talks about the Dolphins, and he's not always talking about the Dolphins, but if he does, whatever he says is gospel because he is plugged in with the boys and he doesn't play the games either. He's saying he expects them to, before the end of the day tomorrow, to announce the GM. So why? They hired Aikman a little while ago. Mike McDaniel's been sitting there. So why now fire Mike McDaniel? And then also release that you're going to be hiring your GM the next day. You have to feel pretty good about your chances of getting the guy you want in Harbaugh to fire the coach you already possess. Because I'm sorry, there is teams calling up right now for Mike McDaniel's services for either offensive coordinator, maybe some about coaching positions. Head coach. And minus Harbaugh, I don't look at any of these other coaching candidates and think, man, that's the direction I want to go more than Mike McDaniel. What are we going to get? Another first-time head coach, offensive coordinator guy? Well, we got to wait for those boys in the playoffs anyhow. Tampering? No. You can request. Okay, what? You going to bring Vance Joseph here? Who else is fired? Pete Carroll? I'm going to go get Pete Carroll? Is that what we want? Hit the like button. Oh, how about Brian Daboll? Let's bring him here. What? Like, who are these? Are just a mixed bag of nuts of guys that have failed or are failing or, didn't, had a head coaching job at some point and failed there. Like, you wouldn't fire Mike McDaniel with your sights set up on, I'm going to hire this GM and we like, Brian Daboll. Or I'm going to hire the Packers guy because I think that LaFleur is going to get fired. That's why I'm going to fire my coach. No, this is a couple billion dollar organization. You don't make hasty decisions on maybes. Mike McDaniel was fired today because the Dolphins feel like their odds are in their favor to get Harbaugh. That's the facts. And their odds are heavy in their favor to hire Chad Alexander. And I'm telling you now, if and when, we may, I'm hoping that it's a John Harbaugh got hired as head coach first. They wouldn't just let this guy go because they want to try out one of these other schmucks. They let him go because they think, I don't need to keep my man. Dude, think about it, guys. We know our owner freaking loves Mike McDaniel, loves him. That is, I don't know if you guys look at it, but Mike McDaniel's slowly turning into Stephen Ross. Like how he looks and everything. He's emulating. That's his daddy, boy. That's his daddy. This hurt. It hurt Ross. It hurt him. Only could you let go of the one you're with, the one you love that you're with, for your true love. And who's his true love? Well, we know this. It's the Harbaughs. He's loved them. Loved them. That's why Mike McDaniel lost his job today, because John Harbaugh is available and the Miami Dolphins feel that they are edging out anyone and everyone looking for a head coach because they're the ones that are going to get Harbaugh. That's the facts. That's what has happened. That's where we are now. They already know. I'm telling you now, they want Chad Alexander and Harbaugh here. They're just waiting for them to say yes. This whole down to the final four of GMs is fodder. Bullshit. The only reason they got the other guys is, I got my Chad Alexander. That's who I want. I don't get him. Probably not going to get Harbaugh, more likely than not. So I'm going to take the Cleveland dude or the fucking Niners guy, or keep the dude I got in Champ Kelly, and, we'll take a shot on a douchebag McGee at head coach, and we could be in a full tank here with a. But all of that seems like just why you could have. You're not changing your course. I'm gonna put it like this, and this is gonna be my final statement. And hit the like button, everybody. The Dolphins are not changing their course by firing Mike McDaniel and then hiring a Mike McDaniel type. Come in with a new. They're not going to plug in all these separate pieces again. That would be business as usual in Miami. And if they were going to do business as usual, they shouldn't and wouldn't have fired Mike. But because they did, I can only think that this has got to be something new. And the something new would be Chad Alexander and John Harbaugh in here. The question will be that we are remaining to find the answer is, did it work? Will it work? Can the Dolphins and Stephen Ross and everyone else pull it off? And it'll also be, hey, Troy Aikman, what a son of a bitch, changed everything when he came to Miami. Troy Aikman came to Miami and they ended up landing friggin' the GM they wanted and the coach they've been dying to get. I'll tell you what, I'll be erect the statue of fucking Troy Aikman if the Dolphins do all this, because we on our way, baby. Hit the like button, everybody. Keep a notification bell on, because we're going to go live later tonight. Watch the Canes. Canes just can't wait to watch some real football. We'll see y'all later. Fins up.